everyone, thanks for coming back for part 2. In my last video I was just going over this verse over here where it says hell from beneath is moved to meet thee at thy coming, and this is talking about the king of Babylon who has just ceased. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. And I was just explaining how this word right here in the Greek is the word giants, and it's actually comparable to this word dead, because it doesn't actually say the dead ones over here. It says it raises up all the giants, the chief ones of the earth. And then chief ones here in the Hebrew means ram, he-goat, or chief one. Okay, so this is talking about the fallen angels, clearly because of the word giants here in the Greek. And chief ones would be a metaphor for the giants as well, for the fallen angels. And then it goes on to say, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Because they've all fallen and are in the pit. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy veals, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? So this happens at the same time that the king of Babylon goes into the grave. That's when Lucifer is cast out of heaven, as it says in Revelation 12. And then it goes on to say, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north, I will ascend above the clouds, above the heights of the clouds, I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. So Lucifer goes into the pit as well. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble and did shake the nations? And I had explained before that this word narrowly in the Greek is the word wonder. And I'll pull that up in just a minute, but I just want to see what it is in the Hebrew. It says to gaze, to stare. So it's to look at someone in wonder. And so you see that word here in the Greek. It's the word thaumazo. It's the same word that's used in Revelation 13:3, where it says, and one of his heads as though it had been fatally wounded. Actually, let me read this in another version. Okay, over here it says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And you see the word wondered is the same word over here. That was in Isaiah 14. It's the word thaumazo. Okay, so you see that's the same word right there. It's a different form of the same word. And then it says that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the houses of his prisoners. All the kings of the nations, even all of them lie in glory, everyone in his own house. But thou art cast out of the grave like an abominable branch, as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under foot. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. So God himself is going to cast him out of the grave, but the world is going to look in wonder because they're going to think he was resurrected. but it was actually God himself that cast him out of the grave. And then it says, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land. So this is all a battle as to who's going to possess the land, the locust, or the fallen angels, or God's people. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, and the remnant, and son, and nephew, saith the Lord. I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water, and I will sweep it in the besom of destruction, saith the Lord of hosts. The Lord of hosts hath sworn, saying, surely as I have thought, so shall it come to pass, and as I have purposed, so shall it stand, that I will break the Assyrian, and this is another term for the Antichrist, in my land, and upon my mountains tread him under foot. Then shall his yoke depart from off of them, and his burden depart from off their shoulders. And this is probably because the rapture takes place at the same time. This is the purpose that is purposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all the nations. For the Lord of hosts hath purposed it, and who shall disannul it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back? In the year that King Ahaz died was this burden. Rejoice not thou, whole Palestina, because the rod of him that smote thee is broken. For out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent. So God is saying not to rejoice, Palestina, and this word Palestina in the Greek is this word right here, which is alophili, and it means strangers or aliens. And over here, this is a word for another word for the Philistines, which were Israel's greatest enemy. And as you can see over here, it says the land of wanderers, strangers. So this also means aliens. And then the way this reads over here in the Greek, it says, don't rejoice, all the aliens or strangers, broken, for the rod is broken, that ruled over you, but, this word can mean but, the sperm of the serpent brings forth grandchildren, asps, and the grandchildren of him bring forth serpents that fly. And so now I want to show you another table that also confirms what Jonathan Kleck had said over here in this video about the locust mutating, because when you put in mutate and serpent, it comes up in Isaiah 30, and I'll just read this first verse over here. But first let me just show you where it says mutate over here in the red, and serpents over here in the pink. And it says, the burden of the beasts of the south through the land of trouble and anguish, from whence come the lioness and the lion, the viper and the fiery flying serpent. They carry their riches upon the shoulders of young asses, and their treasures upon the humps of camels, to a people that shall not profit them. For Egypt helpeth in vain, and to no purpose. Therefore I have called her Rahab, that sitteth still. Now go, write it before them on a tablet, and inscribe it in a book, that it may be for the time to come, forever and ever. For it is a rebellious people, lying children, children that will not hear the law of Jehovah, that say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits. And over here you have the word mutate, and then the fiery flying serpent would be over here right before the word serpent over here in the text. And so you see it's talking about the fiery flying serpent over here as well. And I just tried to pull that up, and those are the only two places where you see that term, fiery flying serpent, is in Isaiah 14 and Isaiah 30. So it's obviously talking about the same thing. And so you have the word mutate coming up here in ELS form in Isaiah 30, where you have the term fiery flying serpent. So that looks like another confirmation that there's going to be some type of mutation that takes place at that time. But then it goes on to say, and the firstborn of the poor shall feed, and the needy shall lie down in safety, and I will kill thy root with famine, and he shall slay thy remnant. How, O gate, cry, O city, thou whole Palestina art dissolved, for there shall come from the north a smoke. And then there's a smoke when the locusts come out of the pit in Revelation 9. And then it goes on to say, and none shall be alone in his appointed times. What shall one then answer the messengers of the nation? That the Lord hath founded Zion, and the poor of his people shall trust in it. So again, this is talking about the redemption and the rapture. Okay, and so I shared all that because I just wanted to point out that this is the point when the mutation would take place, when Obama or the Antichrist would come out of the pit, or when the beast rises in Revelation 13. And over here it has 13 matches, because that's when they look in wonder after the beast. And this is another table that I did on Obama, but when you take out these other terms, I'll just show it to you more scaled down first. You have over here Obama emerge from pit, and there's one match, and you see over here Obama in the red, and then you have from over here in the lavender, and then emerge comes up here in the pink, and then pit goes right through it. And this is coming up in Leviticus 23, and it's talking about the 7th month, the first day of the month. Over here, right where it has Obama's name, is talking about the 7th month and the Day of Atonement. Or it's actually talking about the 10th day of the month. And the 10th day of the month is, or the 10th day of the 7th month is a parallel to the 10th day of the first month, because you have the fall feast and then you have the spring feasts. So it's interesting where that comes up. And this over here is another table that I did on the word mutate. And originally when I tried to put in the word mutate, I had done it because I was thinking of mutate in a good sense, because anytime the DNA changes or is altered, it's called a mutation, whether it's bad or good. So a mutation can be good or bad, and this one is the word mutate in a good sense, because this one is about the rapture. And there's another one that I did that also is the word mutate in a good sense. And that would be this one over here, where I put in DNA mutate, angel, and host. And where this one came up is in the book of Acts chapter 8, where it talks about Philip being raptured, which I didn't even know that Philip was raptured until I read this matrix. And so I want to go over this table and the other one on the word mutate that are talking about the rapture, because these are really interesting, but I'll have to do that in the next video. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.